A tale of three bad things in the garden. We woke up this morning to air quality alert, which we'd been warned about. This is caused by the fires in Canada. Now, it felt hazy just looking outside, so I stepped outside and it's just even hazy as looking across the street. But as I looked down our street, at the end of our street, there is a multi-story apartment building down the hill from us. And it looked almost like there was a fire inside the building. There was so much smoke outside. And when we stepped to the backyard, it doesn't look so bad in the yard, but again, we look out over a hill. Those trees in the distance, those are across, the next street over. That's all. But look how smoky it is. And these are just regular sized city lots. And if I step to the back of the lot, you can see out towards the street. That's like, two streets over that we're looking through. You can see the cars going by and how incredibly hazy this is. And as I'm editing this video, the alert has been raised to red, and we're supposed to limit time outside, even for healthy people, to limit our time outside. It's pretty bad outside. So that's problem number one. Now, the next problem is one we've had inside that's now made its way outside. We've had an ant infestation on the side of our house. And in order to treat the ant problem, all of that ivy growing on the side of the house had to be pulled out, cut away. Now, I'm not too worried about ivy because ivy always grows back. But that little autumn fern, he's taken quite a battering. Now, I'm not terribly worried about this because this is what it looked like when the stone facade was put up. Everything was cut back and everything did come back. And maybe I'll try to look on the bright side and think about planting something else over here. I could transplant some hostas or something like that. I don't know. It gives me an opportunity to think. But I know that fern looks really bad, but he has recovered before, and he's a wonderful, strong fern with nice roots inside. Now, the absolute worst problem that we've had. This is number 3. I've saved the worst for last. Our iconic climbing roses. Now, you're probably just looking at it thinking, well, if she deadhead, it would look a lot better. Well, I can't be outside to deadhead today, but it's worse than that. I have black spot. Now, that can be treated by just pulling off the infected leaves, but it's reached a point where it's pretty much everything. I've tried to treat it before by pulling off the leaves and by spraying it, and nothing seems to be working on the black spot. Now, I would probably keep on working on it, except for the fact that up here, I have rose rosette. Now, some people say that if you just cut out the diseased portions and keep your tools clean, and I've done that for years, but it's reached a point now where I was listening to P. Allen Smith, and he said, if you have rose rosette, just tear the thing out and burn it like a heretic, which seemed awfully cold and cruel. But I've been dealing with this for at least 3 years now, and we never can get ahead of it. So I was like, well, maybe we just cut the rose back to the ground. And when I said that, my husband was like, if you're going to do that, why not just dig it out and completely replace it with something more disease resistant? And there is a Claire Austin rose that is disease resistant. Now, if you're going to be a gardener, or it's just like being a farmer, there's a famous Will Rogers quote that the farmer has to be an optimist or he wouldn't still be a farmer. Now, as you look around, my sweet peas are blooming. They're looking beautiful. The clematis looks great. We're doing fine. The oakleaf hydrangea is doing better than it's ever done. Taking out the redbud tree has given it the sun it needs. I can see my neighbor's astilbe, a little bit of pink is her astilbe. I can see a little bit of her pink hydrangea blooming. I just need to be an optimist. So maybe pulling out that rose will be a good thing. Maybe digging out the ivy next to the house will end up being a good thing too. Just be an optimist. Down here, my mophead hydrangeas are blooming and beautiful. I'll give you a little closer look. Down here, the one here that's a little bit farther back has the most beautiful blue mopheads. Deep blue, big, beautiful clusters of flowers. And as you look back, my patio has returned. This has been storage for, everything that was taken off from the side of the storage shed as we put in the patio there, all the trash cans. And now everything's back, and I've swept it and cleaned it up. And this patio in front of the storage shed, it is still a holding area for work that's not been finished, so it's a bit of a mess. But right across from it, the New Guinea impatiens, that was one plant. And these, in one plant in each pot. And they must really like the dappled light here, the dappled sun. And here is the finished patio with the organics bins in place, all the trash bins in place. The rhododendron is blooming. He's out and looking perfectly beautiful here with, like a dozen lovely clusters of flowers. Mine doesn't have as much bloom on it as some of those pictures you see, but it still does just fine. And down here, my little hydrangea that was threatened with expulsion from the garden if it didn't bloom, and look what it did. Now, it's down low. It's about a foot off the ground, so you can't see it unless you peek at it. And it's a very small bloom, but it's blooming. Here's the patio area, all swept up and cleaned up. I'd forgotten that I had recovered the cushions back here. That's how long it's been since I've seen my cushions. And to sit here and enjoy the view of the hydrangeas and the rhododendrons and the ferns, and in the distance I can see the New Guinea impatiens. It's just a joy to be back here. And, I'm going to be an optimist. I'm sure everything will work out fine. It'll be sad to lose the roses. It's sad to lose the ivy. The closer you are to a problem, the bigger it seems, and the farther away you get, the smaller it looks. But the problem in Canada is a big problem, and we certainly send them our prayers and pray that all of us who are in the wake of that disaster will be safe, and I pray that each of you are safe. Thanks for joining me today. See you next time.